If you want to make your render go from this to this, or from this to this, then follow this video all the way to the end, because it will make your Blender renders better forever in only 15 minutes. So right now I have entered Davinci Resolve, and we can start by going into the color tab, which is right over here. And then we have our first node, and it is this one. Now what I always do, because I'm used to color grading footage, I press Alt S, Alt S, Alt S. And right now we have a couple of nodes to work with. On this one I usually place my noise reduction, but in this case that will not be necessary because we are working with 3D noise and it works a little bit differently. So for now we are heading over into the second node, and I'm going into this tab right here, the HDR grade, which is the high dynamic range grade. And we have the global settings here. And as you might see, this render is quite dark, which is the intention, but I want it to be a bit lighter. Now, how can we do that? We can change the exposure right over here in the global slider exposure. And you will see that as soon as I increase this, it will become a whole lot brighter. Now, we're not going to do it that extreme, we're just going to do it something like this. So now it's a whole lot brighter and we can already see more of what's going on. And that's what we want. Now, on the second one, I will increase the contrast. And by the way, this is the color grading process they follow in Hollywood as well. They first do the exposure, then they do the contrast, then they do the balance, and that is exactly what we are going to do. So this is a professional way to handle your color grading process, okay? So I'm heading over into the third node right here, which is this one. I will go to this tab, which is called the color wheels, and then I will change the contrast like this, but now it becomes dark all over. So we can bring back some of these highlights by sliding the pivot to the left or right. Now I kind of like this. So now it's a little bit more crunchy, a little bit more dark, but also we have our highlights protected. Over here we have the fourth node, which is the balance node. Now in this case, there really isn't that much to balance because this is pretty much all black and we have orange. So if you have another render, what you might want to do is look at these colors right over here. By the way, if you're not in the vector scope, you can select it under this toolbar. You have parade, waveform, vector scope. But first, let's look at the parade. We can see that there are in the highlights, so this is the range of the highlights, red, green and blue. And in the lows, or in the lift, we have red, green and blue as well. And you can see that this all has different ranges. Now, for my render, this really is not that much the case because it is pretty much all black and orange. So if we go into the vector scope, what we will see is a lot of orange, which is over here. Now, if you do not know that this is orange, just look at the color wheels right over here and you can see, orange is in that side. So red, orange, yellow, pretty much in this quarter. And now we have that over here as well. Now your render might look a little bit different color-wise. So what you can do is take this offset slider and move it around until both of these colors are approximately within the same range. So you might have blues on this side, orange on that side, and make sure that it's balanced out so that it's kind of the same length. And that's just a visual process. I'm not going to do it for this render because I simply don't have to. I only have orange and black. I will add another node, and I like to work in fours, by the way, so I will place them right underneath here. So this is the fifth node. And what I want to do is actually change some of these colors. I want this to be orange and blue. Why? Because that is a popular color scheme. So I'm going to the gain right over here in the color wheel section, and I will increase the gain in the orange. And just make sure that it's somewhere over here. Now you can see that the entire render becomes orange because of this. So we need to bring that back a little bit. And how will I do it? I will go into the gamma and bring it to the blues, somewhere over here. Now let's look at the difference of this. This is pretty gray, but now we have our orange and blue setup, which looks very appealing to the eye. Now you can also do this in the lift, but I find that usually in these really dark areas, if you add colors, it kind of messes up the entire render. I don't like to do it that much. If you are going to do it, be subtle with it, but I'm not going to do it in this render. I will simply do it for the gain and the gamma. And now we already have a pretty cool looking color scheme. Now what you can do is add some saturations. There are multiple ways to add saturation actually. So we can go over into this slider and change the saturation like this, but I find that it looks very fake. And I will try to explain another method, which is right over here. It's the RGB mixer. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to increase the power of the reds, greens and blues, and then we will dial it back so that we have a more evenly spaced saturation. So the red slider should go all the way up. The green slider on the green output should go up, and the blue slider on the blue output should go up. Now this is also very saturated, even though it already looks better than the previous method of saturation. And we can go into this tab, which is called the key, and we can increase or decrease the strength of this node. So I will bring it back a whole lot. because you do not want to oversaturate things. Maybe you want to do that if you're making a thumbnail. When I make a thumbnail, I always make it a little bit more saturated, a little bit more punchy and contrasty, but overall you do not want to do this. So approximately 0.2 or 0.15 will do fine. So I think this looks pretty good. If we press Ctrl D, we can turn off a node and see what it does. Now if we press Shift D, it will turn off all the nodes. So we can see what we've done in the entire process until now. So this is what it looks like, very good. And the saturation added just a little bit more orange, of course, and a bit more blues right over here. But we're not done yet, because maybe you have a render where you are not happy with the color. And I will bring in another render right now to show you exactly what I mean, and then we can go over to the final process. So right here I have another render, and don't worry, we are going back to the previous one to follow all these steps, but I want to show you if you want to change the color of your background, for example, then you can definitely do that in Davinci Resolve. So first of all, I will go into this node, and then you have these curves right over here. Now under the curves you have several different options. So you can change the hue for hue, the hue for saturation, the hue for luma, and this is very important. You can use this to basically change the entire color setup of your render. So I'm going into the hue versus hue, which is this button right here, and if you hover over it, it will show you hue versus hue. Now what I can see is that you get a little eyedropper tool in this video section. So if you slide over this, it will select a range within this color. And you can see it's pink. Well, of course, we have a lot of pink in this render, but we want to change the color. And now we have the range in which this color is occurring. So if we take this middle slider and bring it upwards, we can now make it any color we want. Now you have to play around with this a little bit to find whatever you like. Something like this could be cool. Now, if you don't think this is strong enough, you can always go into the hue versus saturation. Then select this, and we've got another range, and increase the saturation of this. And that's something that you could do. Maybe it's too dark, so you can go into the hue versus luma, select this, and turn this up as well, and then it becomes a whole lot more bright. But that is just what you can do to change the color of your render if you want to do that. I'm not going to do it right now because we are working on this one. Just for example's sake, we can change the hue of this, let's say orange, right over here, and change the color of the bottle to whatever we like, okay? So that's basically what we can do. I'm not going to do it, but I am going to add an effect, because we have effects right here, and there is sharpen. Sharpen, bring it in here. Now, it will make the entire scene a lot more sharp, as you can see. You do not want this to be too strong, so I'm going to turn it on, but right over here we have the sharpen amount, and we can change it towards something like 1.3 seems to work occasionally, and it's really subtle, but it will make it better. But don't crank it too much, because it will not look good. What we can add for this next node is, for example, a glow. So you can type here in the effects panel, glow, and it will show you the glow node. Set the glow on this, and these controls are very simple. We have the shine threshold, which basically means that from a certain amount of light we will add glow. Now if you change the threshold, you'll see there will be more glow on several different areas. I'm just going to leave it like this. The spread decides how far the glow will reach, so that's basically turning it out or inwards. I'm going to put it down a little bit because I only want the bottle to glow, because the bottle is the main focus of this image and I want it to be popping out of the screen. And right over here we have the gain, which is basically how strong the light of the glow is. But I'm not going to mess with that right now. I think it looks fine. And now what you want to do is go into the global blend, which is right over here, and take the blend down. We often tend to add too much glow to our scene because it's kind of eye-popping, you know, it's very bright and you're like, wow, glow. But don't do that. Keep it subtle. Don't set it to 100%. As you can see, this is way too much. So we're going to set it to something subtle like 0.156. So that's something that you can do. Now, if you have a moving render, which this is, but it is in 4K, so it's pretty slow to play, you can also add lens reflections like this. Now you can change the values, make it brighter, make it less bright. You can also change the colors right over here. So let's say you want it to be more of a yellow or orange tone, which is better for this render in specific. Now we can go to the global blend once again and bring this up or down in whatever fashion you like. I'm not going to add it for this render, but I just wanted to show you guys this trick. And especially if you have a moving render, this can look very cool as it changes with the movement of the camera. So keep that in mind, that is something you can try. Now, here we have this node, and what I want to add is a vignette. The vignette is an effect right over here. You can also make it by yourself going into this tab, but I will show the easy way right now. Vignette. Drag it on here, and as you can see, the edges will be black or darkened actually. So we can increase the size right over here. We can also change the anamorphism, which kind of means that it goes more like this. We can also change the softness. Now, what I find is that this note is always a bit too strong for my liking. So once again, I'm going into the global blend and bring it down a little bit. And as you can see, it just adds that finishing touch where we have more focus on this final product because it's in the middle and we do not want all these bright values over here because they only detract from our attention. We don't want that. So here we have our final note, which is the film grain note. And after this, I will show you a couple more tricks that maybe you find useful, but this is the final note. So 16mm 500D, these are film grain presets. I like the 16mm 500D. So if you zoom in right now, especially on dark areas, and increase the grain strength, you can see what it does. At least, I'm not sure if you can see it on YouTube, but it adds this grain over here, which is very normal for old film cameras, which will make your render look more real and less digital, because this is very clean, very, very clean. Even in my camera, when I'm filming right now, there might be some grain on my shirt because it's dark. And I will zoom in on it so you can see that. But here, if we turn off and on this node, you can see we have the film grain and it kind of adds a little bit to the render. It's not that powerful, but it does something. So don't make this too strong, decrease the grain strength a bit and always zoom into your image and see what works best for you. Now, I think this subtle way looks very cool. Now, if we look at the before and after, so this is what it looked like before and this is what it looks like now. So that is a very big difference and you always want to do this process. I recommend you getting back to this video several times just to solidify this knowledge in your brain until you eventually can do it automatically like I can. So here we have this entire render setup and I want to show you a couple more tricks. So I'm going to move all of this down and I'm going to work from here. By the way, the order of nodes matters. So if you were to place the exposure node right over here, it will add the exposure over the glow and over the contrast and over everything else. So I will show you that right here. Now it will increase the exposure of everything. But if we change the exposure right here, it will also change the glow because the glow is later in our node stack than the exposure, as you might see right here. Anyway, that's just something to take into account, that the order matters, okay? And right here we have a new node and I want to show you some more tricks so you can make your render even better. What you can do is go over to the color wheels and increase the gain. And this makes sure that only in the highlights, if we look at the parade, only in the highlights this power will increase. So I will bring this down and you will see that all of these are going down. And if you bring it up, the highlights will increase in strength. Now you can also do this for the gamma. So let's say you think this render is still too dark. You want the midtones to be a bit brighter. You can do that by going into the gamma, or maybe you think it's a bit too bright. And then you can take this wheel to the left and it will become a bit darker and more contrasty. So that is something that you can play around with as well. Now, another thing that you can do if you are having trouble with this in your render, you can change the white balance, because usually things that are white in real life, you want to be white as well in your video. And there is a certain Kelvin temperature in which your camera films, which means that sometimes it can be more orange and sometimes it can be more blue. And this is just a way to balance your shot. So basically what we were supposed to do on this node right over here, balancing it out, you know, in the vector scope, as I told you before, we can also do something similar with the white balance. And I'm going to show you where it is. It's right over here. You have an eyedropper tool next to this A button. And this is the white balance. And if you select something white in this scene, then it will change the way it looks. Now, not for my scene because there is not really that much brightness in there. Let's take this one. So I'm going to make it orange first. And now you can see that this white bottle is orange. And that is not what we want. So I'm going to use this eyedropper tool, click on this, and now it will balance it out, saying like, oh, this is actually white. Okay, so now I know what to do with the color temperature of the entire video. That is just a trick that you can use in order to balance out your image. And now for the finishing touch, we can also go over to the Fusion tab and you can add a lens distortion node. It's right over here, plug it into the media out and it will distort this entire render. Now this is a bit too much, and right here you have a slider into the inspector and you can change the distortion of this, and then afterwards add a transform node, zoom it in, and now the render is entirely distorted. So by pressing Ctrl P, you can turn and turn off nodes in Fusion. And this is just the way a camera works because it has an angle like this. That just adds a little bit more to your entire render. But that's just a pro tip. If you have done all of this, then you started out with this, and now you have something that looks like this, which is already 10 times better than how you got it out of the render engine. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click on like and subscribe. I've got a lot more videos on this channel that you'll like as well. And if you want to become an undeniable force in the 3D space, then I highly recommend watching this video next.